I had to really get over that. It was tough for me. So what kept me going back then, especially, was beefing with other people. So I used to always pick beefs with different like neighborhoods and stuff. I started going to Middlesex County College, year 2000, 22 years ago. Jesus Christ. Basically, um, basically, I would be in the college center, and people would just start rapping, and I was still new at this. I had never been in a freestyle cipher before. Like, it was like a whole different world for me. So I actually met a guy that you guys know as Kai Base now, but he was Kyle to me back then. I met Kyle, and Kyle started rapping, and
So
I had
disrespectful. You
never
just
heard
out here
anything so
blasting his
amazing in my
legal name.
life.
I was like, I did not know that was his
It's
name.
all right. I'm not saying his whole name. It's all right. So his rap name was Script back then, Big Script, and Big Script like literally changed the way I thought about hip hop at that moment. Like, he made me get myself like in a whole different path. I became the ill answer at that time because I wanted to take it a little more serious. And that came from basically writing a rap, and I said something. I'm the ill answer to something, 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 and I was like, the ill answer. Yeah, that's me. I am the ill answer. So it became ill answer from writing a rap, and
I can't believe they let you do that.
and yeah, they did. It happened. It happened. So Big Script though was like way seasoned. He knew how to like do song structure way better than me. Like, he already had like songs with like artists that I was like, yo, this is insane. And he actually came through to do a song with me at my house on my computer mic. And that was I was so like honored. You have no idea. Like, he was like out there battling and stuff. He battled this kid named what's his name? Doctor Mindbender. And I was so impressed by that. I was like, I gotta get nice like Big Script. So that was like my new goal. Like, I gotta get nice like Big Script. So basically, I brought him
Shouts
to
to
show to
Kyrie.
my team, and yeah, Kai Base got a lot of stories, which I'll let him share whenever he gets interviewed. But so we did this song, and at that time, we had well, actually, I'm skipping a very important part of this. Hold on, let me backtrack just one step. So before I met Big Script, right? This is very important.
Mhm.
We had dropped a project called Flawless, self-titled, right? That was our group name. It was really three of us on the album: me, Blue, and Stamina. Stamina was the young kid from my block that was super nice. He was like a freshman in high school or something like that at the time, and I was like a freshman in college. And he was way better than even me. You know what I'm saying? So that's so much credit I'll give him. He was nice, right? We basically did like a 10, 11 song project, and amazing things happened basically. So this project crossed the hands of many people. It was terrible. It sounded like crap, but for some reason, people still wanted to hear more. And it passed the hands of an executive, and we actually ended up on the couch at Def Jam. We actually
Say
were getting
word.
questioned whether or not they wanted to give us a deal. They wanted to do like a whole like artist development thing with us because they saw something in us.
Potential.
So I was
Hmm.
on my first year of rapping. I was on 50 something street in Manhattan, getting sitting on the couch while they watch a award show with DMX on, right? And they're listen to my whole like mixtape at the time. And who can say the first year of rapping they ended up on the couch at Def Jam? So that's a very important piece I like to mention.
That is a very
Um,
important
56th
piece.
Street.
Like, that's pretty impressive.
56th Street, that's what it was.
Hmm.
So anyway,
Flacco's
so
like,
once that happened,
What?
that's not
No, I'm
correct. That's
just
not
saying. I
correct. New
know
York history. It's got to be on the right street here. Let me just amend.
the right street, 56th Street. I know it's 50 something. I forgot. It's been a long time. I've been over there. I've been there so many times after that, but anyway, that's another story.
So this was in the middle
So
of
yeah,
you being
we
MC
met with.
Moneybags, or had you become ill answer at this point?
I had already changed the ill answer. I was the ill answer though. It was 3 words. The
They
ill
let you
answer, in
do that.
case you didn't know. They let me do that, and it was THA.
They didn't stop you.
So stereotypical.
They had every chance. They didn't.
So you run that,
They let it
then
go. They let it go.
you meet up with Big Script, and that elevates things a bit.
Big
No.
script.
See, that's the mistake everybody used to make. There's no T on it.
It's not
It's Big
script.
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 Bro, I'm like proper English white boy here from Montreal. It's sometimes hard.
Come on.
I heard it.
Big script.
Script.
We won't fault you. We won't fault you, but just know.
Big script.
Big Script.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
So
All right,
yeah,
now you're
we
emphasizing
met
that
him,
P
and
too
that's
hard.
when.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, so
That ain't P.
when Big Script came around, he basically changed how we basically looked at music. We wanted to get better as a collective, and we started doing music at Studio B with Big Script involved, and we started killing Studio A at that moment. I said it. Whoever's listening from Studio A, I know somebody's watching.
They're not. You gotta let it go. Little answer still beefing with them.
I'm still beefing with
22
them.
years later.
I got a story to fill in with that one too, but
They all retired from
I got a
rapping.
great
They
story
got
to fill in with
kids.
that. I don't care.
Little
So-
answer still like, it's on.
We had dropped a couple tracks at Studio B on one of these old nerdy hip hop websites. It may have been freestyling.com or one of these old hip hop sites. And I'm on there, and I see in the comments, it's this kid in the comments, and he's like, "Yo, are you Stephan?" in the comments. And it turned out to be my boy from high school, Lexiano, who was at that original lunch table. And he was on the site as Lexiano, Lex the Great or something like that. I forget, but whatever. We basically connected again, and it turns out he had his own little thing going. He had a nice little condenser mic in his crib and a preamp and a basement, and with a pool table, a nice little chill spot, like literally like 2 miles from my crib. And we started going over there recording with better quality, and we invited a couple other people we grew up with. This dude named CEO. He was the white guy of the group, I always say. And basically, basically we formed a group called the Syndicates. The Syndicates is probably my favorite part of my history, because that's when I saw so much growth start, and amazing things started happening once we became the Syndicates. And I have to also say that's what also started KM, also known as Junior Gains, because we basically, true story, KM Junior Gains did not rap until he heard the collective of the Syndicates, and he basically auditioned to be in the Syndicates to start rapping. So that was one of my things back then, I had to say. So we basically brought him in. He auditioned to be a part of basically my crew, and we all together were the Syndicates. And it was like 9 of us. Some of you might know AP the Great for Dolo Productions. He was in it. Trying to think anybody else you would know. Probably not, but we were a nice little collective, and we were doing big things. We dropped Volume 1. The streets liked it. We thought it wasn't enough production on it, as far as quality. So we said, let's start spending some money. So we started going all the way to Long Island to this guy named Venom. Venom was in Hempstead, New York, and he had this great studio in Hempstead, New York. And we used to travel 2.5 hours sometimes to get there. And we dropped the Volume 2, which is called Sin City, which is, I feel like, our group's final but dopest project we ever did. Complete, that is. That was very important, because that project basically landed us at EO Dub. Um,
Mm.
Lexiano was telling us about it basically, and this was like 2004. And he said, "Yo, it's this club in New York where they do hip hop that he thinks will be appreciated at." And he says we should kind of get our performance shoes wet and go up there. So the syndicates basically went up to EO Dub, and the first night we went there, it was I guess a regular night for the Dub, but amazing to me. And I never forget it was Big Zoo, Nunzio, doing like a Solid Ground song, I believe, and like Vice and Pro and everybody's basically on stage, and they cut the lights out completely. And I've never been more inspired by this, but anything, but in this moment, but I was inspired. They cut the lights, and they all had flashlights. And while they're performing, whoever was rapping, they all put the flashlight on the person that was rapping. And I was just amazed, like, oh, what the hell is this? I've never seen anything like this in my life. Like, oh my god, and you want me to get on that stage? So, so I said, fuck it, I got to get up there. So I basically set on a mission to come back to the Dub and basically get on that stage and be one of the artists on the stage. So that started like a whole nother element of hip hop for me in general, like where I would actually like think of the performance in. Like it wasn't just, you know, rap, go to the studio anymore. It was like, how would I perform this now? Like, so that introduced me to a whole nother world. I started networking with like crazy people, like you wouldn't even believe. I didn't even know, like I knew who Pumpkinhead was, PH was, because I had a
Rest in peace,
CD.
Peach.
Somebody had given me the Orange Moon over Brooklyn, I think it's called, CD, and I had it in my car all the time. I would play it, but I didn't know what he looked like. Turns out I already knew him from Jersey because he had lived out there in Per Fanboy near me for a while, and I had bumped into him. Him promoting events and stuff out there. So when I met him again in the city, I just thought it was somebody I knew from Jersey, not knowing that's Pumpkinhead. So I was cool
Mm-hmm.
with Pumpkinhead all nonchalant all the time back in the day. Didn't even know who he was until one day somebody said, "Oh yeah, you heard his CD?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what?" So that was one of those interesting moments with the Dub. Like it's like, wow, I'm like mingling with like some of the greats and don't even know it. And yeah, so my first time performing at the Dub was actually an anniversary night. It was like I think 2004 anniversary, and that was like life changing for me because I was terrible. I was like doing this weird thing where I'm looking up in the air when I rap because I was so nervous, and that pretty much pushed me forward. I was I was moving at a different speed, a different pace, and I really appreciate that part of my life the most. So
So that's so if I understand correctly, y'all was pushing. You got to go all the way to Def Jam. You made all your music. Studio B turned into Studio C. Um, and then you went to the Dub, and that's when it really elevated for you. So all of that other stuff was just to get you to
yeah,
the Dub, but then the Dub. Yeah, and it's interesting you bring up the performance element because I don't think a lot of people really
Mm-hmm.
talk about how they learn to perform. But like Rise Hendrix brought up performing, and he's doing quite well these days. So like he brought up his whole I got smoother
hmm
dance and just the idea of practicing that shit, and then you're bringing it up again, and so I guess maybe performing is on my mind as the world opens up in Montreal. But yeah, not a lot of people really like focus on just the way to perform multiple songs. It's like they wildly
Oh,
just
that's the
studio to the release. Maybe they do the music video, but does that song translate to I had to learn the hard way that you don't necessarily do a 6-minute song when they don't know who you are. That's not a good move.
nah,
right.
So,
Definitely,
nah.
you definitely learned that the Dub.
Yeah.
You definitely learned that.
but
You
like,
know, and then honestly, my dream. I would say this was my dream at that time to be involved with the Dub like at a different level because I was so infatuated with how amazing it was and like the energy in that place was unmatched. Like I had performed probably like 20 other places by the time I say in the 2005 I had done like so many performances. Back in the day it was called Remote Lounge, Mercury Lounge, pianos. That may have been later, but it's like all these spots all over over in New York City I performed at. Like I know the Pussycat Lounge, which is like a strip club bar with a stage downstairs, and
That's
girls have
hilarious.
like gunshots and like scars and shit. But
Such a grand exaggerator.
Fuck, I
nah,
was like,
son.
no, I've been
It
there.
was
The
girls in
girls
there
were
with like
not quite like we were describing, sir.
it was girls in there with
That
battle wounds, man. I don't care what you say.
no, they're it fucking emotional scarred, mentally scarred, maybe.
Yo, it was a girl in there with like one leg. Stop playing, yo.
He
Not
said
playing.
one
That's too
leg.
far. But
Jesus Christ. That's the shit you find in
she had to.
those
She had
rural
to.
places. Not
Yo,
New
she was
York.
doing the uni twerk.
This guy.
That was not the dub.
Yo, the
That's what
visual
I'm
on that is
taking from
crazy.
it.
Not at all.
No, so I guess so all right, so now we're talking performances, right? So 2006, right? I started noticing, well, excuse me, let me take this back. Big Script came to me and he said, "You know what we should do? We're meeting a lot of new people." He said, "We should form a collective of people from Jersey that we know and kind of get growing, popularity with the people we know, you know." And he said we should call it the Maniac Squad. And I said, "Wow, that's a good idea. Like that sounds crazy." So I took his idea. I'm gonna make sure I say that correctly. It's his idea. I don't want anybody to think I'm saying I took credit for that. I don't. Um, Basically, I took his idea and I just started running my mouth, just like I'm running my mouth right now. I was out there. I was meeting groups all the time in Jersey, especially, and I was just saying like, "Hey, we're starting this umbrella thing. We don't know where it's going, but we're taking everybody who's a manager, rapper, dancer, whatever you do. If you're from Jersey, you're in entertainment. If you're a lawyer, whatever. As long as if in Jersey, that's the only criteria we want. We're gonna form this collective called the Maniac Squad. So whenever you have an event or something, all you have to do is pick up the phone, call somebody at the Maniac Squad. We'll send the invites to everyone. Everybody pulls up. That's Maniac Squad." So that was the whole premise. So
Smart.
instead of trying to necessarily build fans, we decided to bring everybody with us.
All your
Period. Like
fan
everybody's
bases
all
together.
connected.
Hmm.
And one of the things in Jersey in particular is everybody kind of hates on one another. Each city, kind of hates on that city, and on top of that, we're in the shadow of New York City. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're always trying to prove ourselves because we're from Jersey. Excuse me. And so I was trying to alleviate some of that stress. Like, why are we beefing with each other? You know what I'm saying? So I went around. I picked some of the best people I can find. Um, I'm not gonna mention everybody. There's too many to mention, but I'll note some people that are popping now. I guess Justina Valentine,
Mm.
Big Script was in AP, the Fedola Productions. There's a guy named Reek who does Ill City right now. Ill City, they're signed basically through Do It All and Lord Jamar, I believe. I don't want to mess that
Do it
up.
all
And
from
also
Lords of the
Tretch is
Underground.
involved. Yeah, exactly. They're signed through
Who's
them. Who
also, I
also
think,
was connected to
didn't
Justina.
he run for mayor, or is he mayor
Yes, he did.
um
Of Newark.
of Newark? Yeah, I think he won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he didn't actually, unfortunately.
No, he didn't. Oh, okay.
But
Word.
no, he didn't. Unfortunately, but
Oh, okay.
you know,
But
it is what it
still,
is.
yeah. Wasn't Ren Thomas a member?
Okay, I don't want to go too far into that, but no, Ren was not a member of that. He could have been,
Word, word, word.
but I knew him a little bit, but not really like that. I used to see him at shows back in the day. He was in another group called Backpack Superheroes or something like that. I forget the real title, but
Right,
yeah, he used to
right.
be. I at that time, I want to say with Maniac Squad involved, I was doing over 100 shows locally, and a couple of shows in Connecticut and Virginia and stuff like that, but mostly locally at that time every year. So that's a big number for someone who's relatively unknown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's
And
good.
in Jersey, I was a lot more known and more accepted, throughout than you would know for me coming to the dub. So in the dub, everybody took to my brother out of the syndicate crew at that time, and he had kind of made his transition into starting his own team called Make a Move.
Your brother KM,
So
formerly known as.
KM,
Mhm.
Unir Games, as he calls them now. Basically, so in New York, it was kind of interesting thing because I purposely took a back seat, so I would purposely put myself behind my brother because I wanted to support him. So I found that I'm a marketing guy from the gate, so I didn't even talk about that part piece yet. I'm going back to that, but so marketing is embedded in me. So once I see something works marketing wise, I'm behind it. That's how it works. So I put all my eggs basically into behind him, made sure he was the one known. So in Jersey, I focused more on me, and that's kind of how I did that, and it kind of worked for a while. So that's what it was. But because I did that, a lot of stuff I did or was a part of was unknown. So it's like, say, the Maniac Squad. I wasn't really a main member of the Maniac Squad, but I was like the one picking up the phone calls, getting the calls from England, people cursing me out, talking about they hate the Maniac Squad. But then I get another call, we want you to perform in Connecticut. It was a lot of like dramatic stuff with the Maniac Squad because we started doing jump off TV battles, and we started trying to take over that. So that's a whole nother
Jump
world.
off TV battles, which were the first kind of like that was the first like battles that were happening in person, but going like on YouTube, the videos and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.